All right, let's talk about something well, it's a real head scratcher for a lot of us. It's this paradox. How can two incomes somehow feel like less financial security than one used to? Let's dive in. Does this hit close to home for you? You and your partner are pulling in what should be a fantastic income, way more than your parents or grandparents ever made. And yet, you're still sweating it when you need to buy new tires. If that sounds familiar, you are absolutely not alone. And here's the thing, it's not just a feeling, it's a real structural problem. So that's the big question, right? Why does having more money feel like you're taking on more risk? It seems completely backward. But stick with me because by the end of this, you're going to see exactly how this works. The hidden mechanics that can flip a second income from being a safety net into, well, something that makes you even more fragile. And yeah, there's actually a name for this whole thing. It's called the dual income paradox. You might have also heard it called the two income trap. And really, it's a concept that uncovers this massive shift in the way family finances operate today. Now, this isn't just some theory people talk about online. It's actually backed by a ton of research. The idea was really fleshed out by Elizabeth Warren, and this was way before she was a politician, back when she was a professor studying a really alarming trend, why so many middle-class families were suddenly going bankrupt. Okay, so to really get why today's setup feels so precarious, we gotta rewind a bit. Let's jump in the time machine and take a look at how a typical middle-class family's finances were structured back in, say, the 1970s. And you might think the big difference was just one paycheck. But that's not the whole story. The real secret weapon, the hidden advantage of that single-income family, was something you could call a shock absorber. And that was the partner who wasn't earning a wage. Their role provided this incredible, often invisible, financial flexibility. Think about it. You've got one main breadwinner, so the family's big, fixed costs, the mortgage, the one car, they were all based on that one income. And here's the kicker. If that person lost their job, well, the other partner could then go out and get a job, becoming the financial backup. The whole system had a built-in safety net. Okay, let's fast forward back to today. Now you've got two people working, bringing in what looks like a lot more money on paper. But something funny happens to that second paycheck. It's almost like it gets lost on its way to the bank. So let's just throw a number out there. Let's say that second income adds a cool $65,000 a year to the household. On paper, this family should be absolutely crushing it, right? Piling up savings, building wealth, feeling totally secure. But they're not. That money just seems to evaporate like it was never there. And they're left feeling just as stressed out, maybe even more so. So what is going on? Where does it all go? Well, a huge chunk of it gets eaten up by what you could call silent wealth killers. And these are a new breed of expenses. They're practically non-negotiable, and they only exist because you're earning that second income. Yeah, that second paycheck doesn't just disappear by accident. It gets taken apart piece by piece. Let's break down the four biggest culprits that basically make that money vanish before you even see it. Okay, number one, and this one is the big one, childcare. It's simple, right? If both parents are out of the house working, someone's got to look after the kids. This is often the single largest new bill on the table, a huge fixed cost that just wasn't a line item for that old single-income family. All right, next up, that second worker has to actually get to their job. And what does that usually mean? Yep, a second car. So now you've got a second car payment, more insurance, more gas, more repairs. It's a massive financial drain that you're only paying so you can go earn that second salary in the first place. Then, of course, there's good old taxes. The government doesn't see that second income as its own little thing. Nope. It gets piled right on top of the first income. And what does that do? It bumps the whole household into a higher tax bracket. So you're not just paying more taxes, you're paying a higher percentage of your total income in taxes. And finally, there's this last one, and it's maybe the sneakiest of them all, the exhaustion tax. This is all the money you spend just because you're completely drained of time and energy. It's the DoorDash orders when you're too tired to cook. It's paying for a cleaning service or a lawn service you totally do yourself if you weren't both working constantly. It's the price you pay for having zero margin left in your life. So, okay, let's pull all these threads together. What's the big picture here? How is it possible that having two people working flat out has somehow made families more financially fragile, not less? This little chart really says it all. Back in the 70s model, you had low fixed costs and high flexibility. Today, It's the complete opposite. Fixed costs are through the roof. The mortgage, 2 car payments, childcare, and that safety net, that reserve worker you could call on, they're gone. They're already working. And right there, that's the answer to the paradox. What's happening is that families are taking both of those incomes and immediately locking them into this mountain of fixed costs. They've essentially traded the old model's flexibility for a higher paycheck that has zero resilience. And the scary part is, if one person loses their job, the entire house of cards can come tumbling down. It's just this totally backward truth about being middle class today. The main strategy that families are using to try and get ahead, having that second person go to work, is the very thing that's creating a financial setup with less security. So, for millions and millions of families, this is the reality. 2 people working as hard as they possibly can with absolutely zero wiggle room. It's like they've built a faster car with more horsepower, but they've completely removed the shock absorbers. And that makes them incredibly vulnerable to even the smallest bump in the road. And that really leaves us with one last really big question. Look, it's obvious we're not going back to the 1970s model, but if the 2-income model we have now is this brittle, what's the alternative? What does a truly secure, a truly resilient family look like today? Now that is something to chew on.